Bundesliga, Serie A, and League One predictions. And I think we should start with the one that has the new winner. After 12 seasons in a row with Bayern Munich winning, it's now a doubt of who's going to win the Bundesliga next season. And why is that? Because Xabi Alonso exists. And even I'm going to go bold and say Sain with Dortmund. I think it's going to go very well. It's a bold statement, but I like the fit. I think he's going to be a good manager. So, Redson, what are you thinking?
We're going to find out close enough. So here's what I've got so far. I still think RB Leipzig is going to make some signings in the very near future. Okay. But for me, my top four is RB Leipzig in fourth. Okay. Actually, I've got a top five. I think coming back into the fifth position is going to be Eintracht Frankfurt. Okay, we remember them from a couple seasons ago. Then they got beat up in the transfers. Everyone wanted their players, and they had a really tough season last year. Stuttgart took their place. Stuttgart took their place, and then they just got raided in the offseason. Mainly two of them going to Dortmund. Exactly. And I think those signings are huge. I think those signings, while Dortmund has gotten away from signing all the wonder kids we love and all that good stuff, they've also gotten away from promoting from within. Mm-hmm. They don't have as much faith in their academy, which kind of stinks. But I still think they're making the right signings to be good right now, even if I don't agree with it long term. So I've got fifth, Eintracht Frankfurt will get back into the Bundesliga picture. Hugo Ekitike for 16 million because he hasn't really popped off yet for Frankfurt. I think he will pop off this season. They also brought in a lot of youngsters. Kanuzan from the second Bundesliga had 19 goals for Nuremberg last year. Christian Licht, who is one of the better Hungarian prospects out there, and they even signed a Højlund brother. I mean, you got to like it, right? Oscar Højlund, the midfielder, joins Frankfurt. I'm going to say they're going to also join the top five, fifth place. Fourth place for me is going to be RB Leipzig until they make some signings. Xavi Simons is a phenomenal signing. He was amazing last season for them, but he needs more weapons. I also think Benjamin Sesko will be up there in Golden Boot conversation. Not quite Harry Kane volume, but we're talking like fighting for second or third. But I think Openda and Sesko, there is room for both of them to score 20-plus goals this year.
It's going to be amazing. No lie. And if they do so, they must get top three, though, Breton, in the Bundesliga.
I agree, which is why I'm a little bit skeptical of it unless they sign a Bilal El Khanous or they sign somebody else that is going to be a conductor for them, or they give the reins to Baumgartner, which they have not done yet. They have not done yet. And when he has been given the opportunity, I will not mince words here. He has not grasped that opportunity just yet for Leipzig.
And we're mentioning Bilal El Khanous to replace Dani Olmo, but the one that's more likely to replace Dani Olmo, to be fair, is Oscar Glauc. And Oscar Glauc is going bold for RB Salzburg right now. So great offensive
Pep Linders would be so sad if not even a month into his first time, first managerial position in a bigger league, that would stink to lose your big playmaker next to that. But you're absolutely right. If it's not Bilal El Khanous, it could very well be Oscar Glauc, who has been bold for Salzburg. But I've got them right now, Leipzig, fourth place, although I think it's going to be close. I think the top four, it's not going to be Serie A close, which we'll talk about, but it is going to be close this season because there's a couple things I think are going to happen. I think Leverkusen's team, all the little fortunate breaks, they add up. Right? The little fortunate breaks they got, the last gasp goals, the players staying healthy for the most part, except for Boniface. There are some players that definitely overplayed their hand and might come back. But they also have to fend off clubs that really want their players. They've done really well at doing so just yet. So that's why I think it's going to be closer. They're not going to run away with it. But I think the top three, it's going to be third place Dortmund, second place Leverkusen. I think Bayern, even with Vincent Kompany, who I think will be a decent enough manager, right? Playing that crazy Burnley pressure style football of play where it's crazy. I just think you're looking at João Paulinho, you're looking at Michael Olise if he can stay healthy. You're looking at a really good 11 a really good starting 11, decent youngsters beneath that gives great cover. Pavlovich, who actually will be a starter this season. But what I'm looking at is the Bayern has nothing to lose. They've already lost the perch.
Bayern has everything to lose. Their reputation.
They've already lost the perch. Well, yeah, they've already lost the 11, the stranglehold of the reputation. As conquerors, they are now the ability. It's Leverkusen that has the target on their back. And that target has never been bigger in Bayer Leverkusen's club history.
First time I'm just saying, winners. It's true.
Absolutely. So where I'm going with this is Bayern as the aggressors, right? Is going to work out in their favor this season. I think they win it by like 2 points, 1 point when all is said. And here's what I'm throwing that all in the back of: vibes. There's no real reason to say that except the fact that Leverkusen will fall back a little bit and Bayern will pip them in the end.
Bretson,
there you go.
Your prediction in the Bundesliga, you're saying that Harry Kane is going to win a trophy.
Yes. Yeah. He will. He's going to win a trophy this season. I think
that will be the case again. I'm going to go bold and say I put 4th RB Leipzig, 3rd Borussia Dortmund, 2nd Bayern Munich with Vincent Kompany, Olise, Palhinha, great team, but 1st, an historical manager in the Bundesliga. He's going to cement himself like that. Xabi Alonso's Bayer Leverkusen. And don't get me wrong, I think if Bayer Leverkusen finish 2nd, it's another successful season. But I'm very hopeful for this team that you said it. Bayer Leverkusen's main stars have all stayed. Why? Because they know what they're seeing with Xabi Alonso is revolutionary type football. This is a genius manager. A manager that's worked with Mourinho, Ancelotti, Guardiola. He's worked with the best. And he's now considered the best. I think he's the replacement of Carlo Ancelotti, even if he finishes 2nd with Bayer Leverkusen. But because I think we're going to watch greatness with Leverkusen another season, I'm going to be backing Bayer Leverkusen, another one bites the dust. Alex Garcia, I love that transfer. And another bold statement is Harry Kane, he's going to go bold 100% for Bayern Munich with Kompany in the Champions League, in the Bundesliga, 100%. But Boniface, no injuries. Victor Boniface could be the top goal scorer in the Bundesliga. I'm going to go bold and believe that can happen. With Florian Wirtz behind you, everything is possible. And Florian Wirtz, no injuries. Best player in the Bundesliga last season, not Harry Kane. And if there's no injuries, I am very hopeful that we will see a Bayer Leverkusen first once again. Frimpong has stayed. Xhaka has stayed. Hincapié is going to stay.
That's crazy.
Cotonou is going to stay. The retention of Bayer Leverkusen is 100% because the players know we are witnessing history with Xabi Alonso. And that's why I'm going to go bold. And when this archive one day will look back in 2024, 2025 season, we will remember that I'm backing Xabi Alonso once again. Because right now, it's the bookies are saying Bayern Munich, which understandable.
Yeah.
Olise, come on.
It is understandable. I mean, you still look at the person and retention. While it's great, it doesn't always work out. It doesn't mean like you're going to get the exact same fortunate circumstances that you got. And don't get me wrong, Leverkusen did have their fair share of adversity last season with Boniface getting, injured, and you had Patrick Schick that had to step things up. You had a lot of their role players, as we mentioned, like Jonas Hoffman, Nathan Tella, even at times, playing big roles. And they've even retained a lot of them, which is kind of insane to think about. But also, I feel like there needs to be a structured kind of bloodletting in order to take advantage of what was an insane season. There's no doubt that every other team that overperformed the crap out of their expectations last season, almost everybody has been gutted. Girona, gutted. Bologna, gutted. Stuttgart, gutted, basically. And in fact, it was Dortmund doing the gutting, right? So it's really interesting. Yes, Xabi Alonso carries a lot of weight in this scenario. The infrastructure put in place by Simon Rolfs, it carries a lot of weight in this scenario for sure. And it feels like, I want to bring it back to what you said. If they get 2nd, that is still an amazing follow-up.
With Champions
League.
Right?
And I don't think this is going to be a Napoli type of situation at all, right? Where you win the league and then you have the worst title defense potentially in Serie A history.
It was the worst. Yeah.
I think
it was the worst.
I think Leverkusen is still obviously going to be amazing, but they're going to have Champions League to deal with. But they've addressed the roster concerns in terms of having more depth. It looks great on paper. What's going to happen when they know they've got targets on their back?
I really want to be
long
a
term
fly in Leverkusen, mate.
New territory.
The training
new territory.
sessions of Xabi Alonso. It's insane. And I didn't even say the name Grimaldo. That Grimaldo became the best left wing back in football last season with Xabi Alonso. So I'm very hopeful of what's going to happen. And the last question on Bundesliga front I want to ask you, Breton, and obviously Dennis Zundab transfer for Stuttgart too to get. It's if Bayern Munich finish second with Vincent Kompany, does he get sacked at the end of the season?
I mean, it's...
I think so.
Oh,
you got Harry Kane.
Yeah,
you got Michael Olise. You got the best squad in the Bundesliga.
It's one of the riskiest announcements. It's one of the riskiest hires that they've ever made.
True.
Based on not really trusting I mean, you're trusting more of a CV as a player than you are trusting it as a
Bayern's trusting their structure.
As a coach.
Their structure as a club, saying we only need you for tactical reasons. But signing structure, Paulinho, we did it in the past already. So do you think? I think Kompany it will definitely not look good for him at the end of the season if he's in second place, and that's a big reasoning for me understanding what you say with Bayern Munich. I
agree. Now, really quickly before we move on from the Bundesliga, because I do agree with all that you said, but Dortmund too, I think is going to be closer than people expect. I think Nuri Sahin, believe it or not, is further along as a manager than Vincent Kompany is. Although I still think Bayern's going to win just based on their roster. It's insane. It's really weird circular thinking on my part, so I'm already regretting it, kind of. But listen, Dortmund to me, while I don't like what they're doing to the academy, Paris Brunner's probably leaving for Monaco for cheap. Tom Roth, who I thought was going to be like their left back of the future. Nope, he's gone to Union Berlin for 5. Gio Reyna, who the heck knows what's happening with him? It sounds like he's staying, but at the same time, I think there's also problems that lie in him, beyond just what the club's doing with him. Julian Duranville, I hope, is going to get his time this season. I hope Bino Gittins stays healthy because he's a hell of a prospect. But listen, other names, Sumaila Koulibaly, Namdi Collins, Hendry Blank, they've all left the academy or are about to leave the academy. And that kind of stinks because Dortmund has one of the better Bundesliga academies, one of the better academies in the world. Julian Reichhoff came and then left, and now he probably is going to get his time at Ajax. But that doesn't change the fact that they haven't made some very intriguing signings in the offseason that should put them close to the top 2 in the Bundesliga. Waldemar Anton, I probably screwed up his first name, and Seru Guirassy for 40 million. Phenomenal business. They've gutted Stuttgart, which stinks. But bringing in Jan Couto as well, one of the better dribblers in La Liga, one of the more exciting fullbacks, one of the bigger reasons, even though it bubbled under the surface for Girona to do what they did in La Liga last season. And if they get Maxi Bayer, right, the young striker that's been phenomenal for Hoffenheim and has actually worked his way into the German national team selection. You've got a team that should be really competitive right now, even if they are getting rid of all the wonder kids we want to see get chances. But Dortmund, I think you should not sleep on Dortmund right now. I think by the end of this season, we will see Nuri Sahin, maybe not in rarefied air of Xabi Alonso right now, but we will see Nuri Sahin as one of the better young coaches on the planet at the end of the season.
Completely agree. If we were to compare with a Lampard, a Stevie G, completely. And even a Vincent Kompany at the end of the season, there's going to be answers that we're going to see, and it's fantastic. And now a bit shorter, I believe, Ligue 1, because let's be honest, the team that keeps on winning, we believe, will do just that. At least I believe. So my top 3. Top 3 with Ligue 1, because I have doubts from the 4th to the 7th place. I think it's going to be a lot closer than people believe. But my top 3, I put 3rd Lille, second,
Oh,
AS
wow.
Monaco. Once again, I'm loving their transfers. And first place in Liga, the team that just signed João Neves, that got William Pacho. It's PSG. I think they're going to be retaining. No surprise. Paris Saint-Germain are the winners of Liga in my predictions. Do you agree?
Yeah, I do agree with you, although I think there's one major kind of central idea to this new season, and that is that PSG no longer has Kylian Mbappe, right?
True.
And that is new territory for the time being. In fact, Ligue 1 no longer has Kylian Mbappe. So it's going to be whether or not PSG can build a team around them. But João Neves, come on. I mean, William Pacho, I think, is one of the more exciting center backs. Even if he's not the cleanest center back, even if he's still relatively raw, he's fast. He's strong. He is aggressive. Like, PSG fans are going to love him. He's
22.
recently remained healthy. He is the second most expensive Ecuadorian signing, obviously behind a certain Moises Caicedo. But I like the signings that they got, but it doesn't change the fact that this is PSG sans Mbappe. Do I still think they're going to win? Yes. But my 2 and 3 are not very different than yours. My 3 is Marseille. Marseille.
Oh, yes,
I know we don't.
It's true.
Yeah, we've got De Serbi there, but I really like the loan business they've been doing. They brought in Valentin Carboni from Inter.
Good one.
Really great young midfielder. Højbjerg from Spurs.
Moukoko?
And listen, okay, yeah, Moukoko, not yet, but Lilian Brassier. I forget if he's from Brest. He's from Brest. One of the better young center backs or younger center backs in Ligue 1. Marseille could be second. They also brought in Mason Greenwood, who from Getafe, from Manchester United for 25 million. Obviously, he's going to do really well in Ligue 1. He really is. So it's intriguing, the signings they're doing, but the funny thing is like De Serbi left because like he wasn't feeling like he was going to get his actual targets at Brighton, and yet Brighton goes and spends like 100 million. Like, there you go. So I'm not sure what's going on there, but I think Marseille will go in third, and then I think AS Monaco, like you said, will be second. Elena Kenna is young, so you got to give him some time. 17 years old, but great signing for that price. Lamine Camara from Metz, everybody wanted him. Great that they got him. If they get Paris Brunner, but the name I want you to remember from AS Monaco is not a signing. It's an academy player, 18-year-old playmaker. I think he's going to get his time this season, and that's Simon Bouabre, who is in their really good. People forget Monaco Academy, phenomenal.
Henry, Mbappe, Anelka. And we know Clairefontaine has a big responsibility too, but Monaco also.
Absolutely. But you're right. PSG, until proven otherwise, I mean, they're
Safonov, good keeper. If Donnarumma is injured, Safonov is a keeper that many top teams in Europe try to sign, and he was convinced by the project at Paris Saint-Germain. And we've said it in previous podcasts. João Neves, Warren Zaire-Emery, Vitinha is a Champions League high-caliber midfield. This is a team that can win the Champions League one day with a manager that has won it in the past with a great team of Barca. True, but he's got intentions to win again. Luis Enrique. He's the best manager in Liga by far, even with the Serie A at Marseille. Well, Luis Enrique.
Yep.
I love it.
João Neves in Ligue 1 with Vitinha.
I'm going to be watching.
Zaire-Emery.
Now it's Sport TV in Portugal. They're back. So
I want to see a little South Korean. I want to see Kang and Lee do some good things. We haven't seen him pop off yet for PSG.
They refused 40 million for Kang In Lee from Atletico, I think. So that would have been a very interesting signing, and they clearly have big intentions for him in the future. Yeah. Let us know until now if you're listening to the predictions, your Bundesliga predictions, and your Ligue 1 predictions. Did you go bold?
Yeah.
Because we didn't quite go bold on this one, but inevitable to go bold. Serie A is the most difficult title race for me to predict in the top 5 European leagues. It's easier to predict that Man City are gonna win the Premier League for sure. And something that backs what I'm saying is, in the last 5 years, we've had 4 different champions. And I remember a time that Juve won 9 trophies in a row. Yes, it wasn't 12 like Bayern Munich, but 9 is insane in Calcio. Juve era that was so bold, and someone that was successful in the Juve era, like
And
Conte,
illegal.
is now at Napoli. So
Yeah,
it makes
that's
it
true.
mega exciting to watch Calcio. The ratings are going to go definitely up. Calcio, I think, will be the third most watched league in the world with how things are. First, Premier, obviously. Second, La Liga, very close to Premier now. And third, I think Serie A is coming back to be one of the top leagues in world football. Definitely.
Well, I know in America they're doing it really, really well here with the Serie A football coverage, Calcio coverage.
There's a lot of
So
Italian immigrants.
Paramount deserves some love for what they're doing over here for Serie A. But I agree with you; it is going to be an absolute dogfight in Serie A, and I am looking forward. While I don't have them too high, although I've seen some people have them a lot higher. I am looking forward to seeing what Napoli can do under Antonio Conte. I mean, it's going to be hellfire. It's going to be not exactly the most positive setting, but I feel like Napoli needs that after
With
last
Lukaku,
season's
right?
dismal title defense. Potentially, yes. But as of right now, Victor Osimhen is still there. I mean, I don't know why Chelsea is even throwing the money that they're throwing when they could just throw Lukaku and 60 million or 50 million their direction and get Osimhen, probably more than that. But still, I have Napoli creeping at least back into the top 5. I do like the shrewd moves that they've done so far to restructure their defense. Spinazzola, Alessandro Buongiorno, who actually made his way into the Azzurri conversation in the Euros. And then I also like the addition of, people don't really know his name yet, but La Fabrica made him, Rafa Marin, who was on loan at Alaves from Real Madrid last season. I think he will be great cover, but Buongiorno is the one you want to look at there. Still have Kvaratskhelia and Osimhen just yet, but I also think Antonio Conte will make sure that this is not another, I don't know what another circus show. It's not going to be a circus show this season. They'll finish top 5. They won't be in the hunt, in my opinion. No.
I have Napoli in 4th place in my predictions. I think Antonio Conte is a great signing as a manager that, honestly, Napoli could shut me up right now and win the Serie A because of Antonio Conte, okay? I believe that Antonio Conte is a manager with very high demands. He cannot see himself not winning. That's why it worked out at Chelsea and it didn't work out at Tottenham. That's my doubt. With De Laurentiis given the tools to actually win Serie A once again with a Lukaku, Kvaratskhelia staying, more midfield depth. I think they're one big midfielder away of actually, for me, guaranteeing a top 3. So Antonio Conte couldn't go bold. I wanted to make that a statement, but I've got Napoli in 4th. I got 3rd place, AC Milan. Saddens me, but I think Paul Fonseca is going to do a great job, and he's going to trust Liberali and Francesco Camarda in 2nd. I've got the winners, Inter Milan, and 1st, yes, the Thiago Motta effect is real in my opinion. I have got Juventus with sporting director Cristiano Giantoli getting the right players for the right style of play, that is Thiago Motta's, with Kefrin Turam, Douglas Luiz, all Vlahovic, Kenan Yildiz, all looking studs. I think we're going to see a big season of Juve, and Danilo being the leader that he is mentally, okay? If you don't know this side of Danilo, he's a great center back and was once a right back, but he's a leader mentally, always in the locker room conversations, and very important for that motivation. So I've got the Thiago Motta Juve winning the Serie A.
Wow. Well, I'll be honest. I've got the more boring. I did not go bold when it comes to this. I do agree, though, that the trio, the top 3, are going to be close. I think it's going to be extra close. Somebody that's maybe on the outside looking in, that hasn't yet been mentioned is AS Roma. Because Daniel De Rossi is getting the backing that I think Jose Mourinho would have liked. Because oh my gosh, like Artem Dovbyk,
it's just different.
Enzo Lefebvre,
Dybala,
but this is 80 million plus. 80 million. Yeah, Dybala was plus. He's still there, but they're. I have yet to see. I gotta see whether or not Dovbyk in Serie A actually expect him to cook, but you just don't know yet, right? He was great. He was great in the Ukrainian Premier Division. Now we just need to see, and he was great winning the Pichichi in La Liga. Can he do it again in Serie A? Absolutely could. I think Enzo Lefebvre is great value, and Matthias Sule was great for Frosinone. Can he do it for a top 5 team. So I have AS Roma in 4th for me. On the outside looking in, but still relatively close. 3rd place, I have AC Milan as well. But listen, they've looked good in preseason. That means nothing, but they've beaten Manchester City. They've beaten Barcelona. They've beaten Real Madrid. It means nothing.
Football, Bretson.
But
Paul Fonseca is putting his style of play showing in a quick
absolutely. And he's come out and he said that the Rossoneri's goal, my goal, is to win the Scudetto, not next year, not the year after that. It is to win this year. And all I can say to that is, well, you need more signings if that's going to be the case.
Imagine if Rafael Leão becomes the player that can score 25 to 30 Serie A goals in a season. It's very bold with the amount of good defenses we have in Serie A. But if Rafael Leão goes to this level and becomes a left winger that we debate with Vinicius, with Mbappe, that can happen. Scudetto is definitely something that can happen. And
but here's the thing, like we all know, when they won the Scudetto, who was unstoppable? It was Rafael.
Exactly.
So it's not. He is the key there. If he becomes his unstoppable self for more than just half a season, I mean, we're now talking in upper echelon territory. Like this is just it. AC Milan is the team to beat if Christian Pulisic stays healthy again. If Samuel Chukwueze continues to step up, which I think he will under Paulo Fonseca. If Liberali gets a bigger role, Strahinja Pavlovic, I think people are going to like his depth at center back, a big body coming over from Salzburg for 18 mil, and Morata, I think is going to be a big signing. But when you compare it to what Inter's done and what Juve's done, it doesn't yet compare. So also, small little shout out, end of an era. Daniele Maldini leaves the club. He goes to Monza, where he actually was able to do some things last season. So son of Paolo, grandson of Cesare, right? Cesare leaves Milan permanently, heads to Monza, kind of in an end of an era type of situation. But second place for me, Alex. Second place for me, Alex, is Juve. Okay, getting Michel Di Gregorio, massive signing. He was, for me, the best goalkeeper in Serie A last season.
The best goalkeeper.
And nominated. But for me, he was the best. Based on what he did for Monza, who he did it for, I thought he was absolutely phenomenal. But I'm a little worried about that midfield restructuring and how it's going to work out. Long term, I think it's going to be great.
Oh, Bretson.
Short term, we'll see.
That Douglas Luiz, Kefri Thuram. I told you Thuram's going to be insane with the Tech Moto.
I'm ready. I'm ready for it. I'm ready to see it. He was obviously a big part of the structure they had at Nice for Ferrioli. But the other thing you got to worry about is like Juve couldn't really get the center back targets they wanted over the line. You had a slam dunk in getting Riccardo Calafiori to follow Thiago Motta, and they couldn't get it over the line. And on top of that, they're unloading all of their high-profile young talents. Not all. They still have Moretti. They still have got some really good young players. But they got rid of Matias Sule. They got rid of Don Huizen off to Bournemouth. They've got rid of Enzo Baranechea and Samuel Eiling. Coney de Winter, who would have been good cover because he was great for Genoa last season. Yes. All gone. They're all gone. But they still have a phenomenal 11. It's just when you compare it, Alex, to bringing in Josep Martinez as your backup goalkeeper, bringing in David Fratese from relegated Sassuolo, bringing in Carlos Augusto from Monza, Zielinski from Napoli, Taremi from Porto as striker cover.
He's a great buy. Fratese was already there, but like Zielinski and Taremi as free agents are bargains completely.
It's true.
I cannot disagree with that.
And I don't think they're done yet. I think they'll add another piece or two. So until otherwise proven,
they might lose a piece or two too, Breton. I see Denzel Dumfries to Man United, maybe.
That's true.
They lost Hakimi in the past too, but that's the thing. Yeah, I agree. I put Juve first though, and Inter second, but I do agree in terms of recruitment policy. Inter have been outstanding in these past few years with the amount of shrewd deals they've had. Lautaro Martinez cost 12 million, 6 million? Was definitely a bargain. Definitely a bargain.
That's true.
And he's now a club legend. He's never left.
One name that I hate not throwing into the top 5 here is a name that, come on, they shocked everyone. They won the Europa League last season. Gasparini has worked his absolute magic. But I have Atalanta on the outside looking in. They have Champions League duties, which is insane. Absolutely amazing for La Dea. Absolutely amazing. They've done wonders to bring back in Charles De Ketelaere. Scamacca is recovering from a long-term injury. They
Yeah.
brought in Matteo Retegui. You've got Giorgio Scalvini recovering from long-term injury. They brought in a versatile Ben Godfrey, who we love from Everton. I don't know how he's going to pan out in Serie A, but it's Gasparini, so my guess by the end of the season, Ben Godfrey will probably be world-class. They brought in Zaniolo. They brought in, they still have Ademola Lookman.
Yep.
The big issue for them and the big hole for them, for Atalanta,
Miners, if he goes.
is they're about to lose Coop Miners. And if Coop Miners goes to Juve, as might be expected, I am flip-flopping my Juve to Scudetto winners. But if they don't sign Toon Coop Miners, or Inter comes in and pips it, then I don't know. But Atalanta, what a historic season for them coming up. I hope that Gasparini once again proves us all wrong. Old guy learning new tricks is always a wonderful thing, and I love his little reclamation projects that he gets done in Syria.
And he extends at Atalanta, and deservingly. The only manager to beat Bayer Leverkusen last season. This is why I say the Serie A is the most entertaining league to watch, not named Premier League, okay? The Serie A is mega entertaining because Roma has now mega signings with Dobik Sule. Atalanta Europa League winners. AC Milan, a new style of play with Paul Fonseca that looks really good. Napoli now with Conte. Juve now with Thiago Motta. Inter Milan, one of the best teams in Europe. Come on, you have all the reasons to watch this league that is going to be mega entertaining, people, okay?